What's up everybody, my name is Carl, and today I'm going to talk to you about what La Llorona is. La Llorona, or the Weeping Woman, is a vengeful entity slash cryptid that originates in Latin American folklore, a malevolent spirit, a harbinger, or a direct cause of misfortune to the living. She is depicted as being a woman dressed in a long white gown with long black flowing hair. Most notably, you'd probably be able to hear her before actually seeing her, as she is often heard wailing loud mournful cries near rivers and lakes. The only main ability that La Llorona has is a siren-like power. Her cries are said to lure people, specifically children, to their deaths, as her spirit is restless and seeks to take others with her. The legend of La Llorona has a different range of iterations and details, but the typical version involves a beautiful young woman called Maria who marries a wealthy man. For a good period of time, the couple lived happily and had 2 children. Unfortunately, things started to go downhill as the husband began to lose interest, and one day while walking to the river nearby with her 2 children, Maria catches a sight of her husband riding in a carriage with another young woman. In a fit of rage, she throws both her children into the river and drowns them. After she calms down, she realizes what she has done and decides to drown herself. Because she drowned her children, she wasn't able to move on into the afterlife and is forced to roam the earth searching for her children. In an alternate version of the legend, she drowns her children in order to be with the man she loved, but was subsequently rejected by him. She then later kills herself and is also banished from the afterlife to spend all eternity in vain searching for her children. The last alleged known sighting of La Llorona was back in November 2024, with video footage evidence to support this. On November 7th at 1:30 AM in Mexico in 2024, footage is shown of what appears to be the reactions of 2 dogs barking to a figure walking along the side of the road, moving from left to right. This person doesn't really react to the dogs and is shown dressed in white. In the beginning of the footage, the dogs are barking. However, as the figure approaches the middle of the frame, I'm not so sure if the dogs are making this noise, but it sounds like the figure is wailing like La Llorona is said to do. Of course, this could just literally be a person walking down the road in distress, but even still, it's kind of disturbing either way. Now it's story time. As La Llorona is a legendary infamous entity, there are loads of encounters and experiences that people have allegedly had. Both stories are from Reddit. This first one is by a deleted user, so unfortunately I can't give the specific person credit, but if you come across this video, please leave me a comment. So without further ado, hit the lights, get a blanket, and don't get scared. Story 1. My mum saw La Llorona in Mexico when she was 15. Alright, so this story has been told to me by my mum a few times, and every single time I still get that creepy eerie feeling that someone is watching me. My mum is from a small town in Mexico, located in Zacatecas. When she was around 14, she had the habit of waking her mum up to go to the restroom, since it was an older home and the restroom was located outside. My mum tells me that it was around 3 AM when she woke up and felt the need to use the restroom urgently. So she began calling out for her mum. After a while of her mum not responding, she began getting agitated and started screaming. At this point, my mum turns around and at the foot of her bed, she sees her mum standing there. She was wearing a white robe but had a very bleak expression on her face, and both her arms were extended. My mum said that she suddenly felt extremely cold and a huge sense of dread. She had never seen her mum wear a white robe. That's when she looked down and saw her mum's feet weren't touching the floor. At that moment, she screamed and quickly threw the covers over her head. Her mum, wearing something completely different, runs in to find my mum shaking in her bed. Nobody believed my mum. Everyone told her it was a dream. Until a few days later, there was a power outage. During this, my mum and a few of her siblings with her parents all decided to sleep in the living room. At around the same time at 3 AM, they heard the same undeniable wails of La Llorona down their street. None of them slept that night. The next story is by Reddit user Brenda_07. My dad saw La Llorona. My dad would tell me his experience with La Llorona when he was younger. My dad grew up in Guanajuato, Mexico. He lived miles away from school and he had to walk or ride his bike to get there, and he would pass a huge river every day. He told me how he met his first wife when he was a teenager, and she lived near the school, so he had to go by the river to get to her. He stayed out pretty late since they went on a date, and he had met her parents and stayed for dinner. When he was riding his bike back, he said it started to rain really hard, making it hard for him to get home since it was dark, and the only source of light he had was the moonlight shining through some of the clouds. He stopped by near the river to go under a big tree to get out of the rain when he heard noises of a woman crying. He saw a lady crying by the river. He said he instantly got chills and goosebumps, but thought it was from the rain. He said at first he didn't think it was her. He couldn't really see her face or anything since he was too far away, so all he could see was the silhouette of a woman. He decided to ask if she was okay, so he started yelling at her, asking if everything was alright, and she stopped crying and got quiet. All you could hear was the rain hitting the ground, and he said he was going to go check on her until he heard her blood-curdling scream. He knew he messed up and got on his bike and pedalled as fast as he could to get home. He got home, went to my abuelita's room and asked her to stop praying and told her what happened. They stayed up all night praying until the next day. And that was my take on La Llorona, a terrifying spiritual entity from Latin American folklore, a presence that puts fear into children and adults, a being that you'll most likely hear before you see, and certainly something you'll not want to encounter. Is La Llorona real or fake? Well, certainly there are some aspects that might suggest she does exist. The various sightings and encounters that people have documented over the years give some indication that there is something out there. There are loads of encounters all across the internet, all detailing similar depictions of La Llorona and all having very terrifying experiences. However, there is also evidence to suggest that La Llorona is simply mere fiction and is nothing more than a traditional Latin American folktale designed to scare children and adults. There isn't any evidence to suggest that she is based on a real historical event and is more of a scary tale to warn kids of the consequences of misbehaving. She is more of a symbol of grief and regret. Of course, I do leave this to you, the viewer, to decide. What I will say is that whatever you decide, she certainly has been a popular legend rooted in Latin American culture for centuries, being passed down through the generations, and certainly has been a significant cultural touchstone. So comment down below if you have any information on La Llorona that I haven't mentioned. Do you or someone you know have a true encounter to share? And what do you think? Do you believe La Llorona is real or fake? Like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!